I am going to be reviewing Adhadhun. I'm sorry if I've said that wrong. I actually googled and the translation is The Blind Melody, which actually makes so much sense. Long story short, I really liked it. It was cast as a black comedy crime thriller. Crime thriller I'll go along with. Comedy, I don't know. I thought it was more of a thriller, like there were constant plots and twists and I loved that. Right up until the end, it like really hooked me. I really enjoyed it. I didn't know anything about this film beforehand, but it was recommended by you guys at Shrishti. I just loved the storyline. I loved how the characters developed, and particularly Simi. Oh my goodness. Her character, you hated her, but like you wanted to keep watching her. When she pushed Mrs. Desar over the stairs, oh my god. Look, as she did that. Simma killed the old lady, several exclamation marks. Her poor husband, she was having an affair with the inspector, who was just vile. Her poor husband she put in the suitcase. Oh my goodness. She was like a really riveting character, I really liked her, and then she died. Spoiler alert, she died, if no one's seen it. Yeah, she died. Yeah, not even gonna sugarcoat that. Akash, the blind singer, blind, is he blind? Where Akash was in Krakow or somewhere in Europe, where he is with his stick is trying to find his way along the path, and he whacked the beer can that was on the floor, like exactly aimed on it as if he knew where it was, and then it ends, it's like, was he able to see the entire time? I really liked Sophie, the sort of damsel in distress character. I loved her innocence and I loved like her kindness and her purity. She met up with Akash at the end like by mistake in Krakow, and how they got their moment of sort of understanding of what had happened. Like that was a bit of closure, which I really liked. I really liked the style of it. Like I liked that Akash was singing, and that actually explained a lot of it. Like explained a bit of the story, like when, because I had the subtitles on Netflix, so you got to read the lyrics of the songs, and it was actually quite meaningful lyrics, which I really liked. I liked that he narrated a lot of the time as well. I thought that was really personable. The musical element, I was expecting more of a musical element, considering it's a film about a piano player. There wasn't actually as much as I thought, but that actually didn't matter that much. That whole scene actually, when Akash is playing the piano for their wedding anniversary, and there's the blood on the floor and you don't know whether he can actually see it, but then it's the first time where you think maybe he's not fully blind and he can actually see. I thought that whole scene, it was a really long scene, but it was so interesting. I thought it was really well done the entire time, just the silence of their movements while the constant piano playing, but was juxtaposing the chaos that was happening of cleaning up the blood and moving the body, and then it ended up wheeling it out in the suitcase, and that was a really standout scene. I would give it a solid like 9 out of 10. For something I'd never seen before, didn't know what to expect. Yeah, I was really impressed, and I would recommend it because it's a bit different. Like the storyline was actually really different, that I'd never seen anything like that anywhere. Constant plot twists and turns, I think, were great. Like, it was so well written. I was really impressed with it. Really enjoyable, really enjoyed it. Great recommendation, Eshna. Thank you for that. And I look forward to watching more in the future.
So, Piku. It was suggested by... No, we're gonna start that again. The movie I watched was Piku, which was suggested to us by Eshna. So my first reactions, Deepika Padukone, amazing actress, absolutely love her, I've always enjoyed her work. And then we see Amitabh Bachchan. He looks absolutely adorable as an old man with this massive belly who's sitting there with his really big glasses. The first thing we see is like him yelling at this maid, and the first thing Deepika Padukone does when she comes in is like start yelling at him, and I'm like, lol, relatable. There was loads of things about the movie that really interested me. First off it was just so funny because of how normal it was. Like one of the first scenes we see, she goes to work, Piku goes to work, and she's in the middle of clearly like quite an important meeting, and she gets a message and she's like, just read it. And it's about her dad's constipation, and it's absolutely hilarious because the woman, you could see she just does not want to read it, and she's like,
constipation or gas?
Okay. And he's like, oh, my stools were leaky and then looked like mango pulp or something like that. So yeah, the movie's about constipation apparently, and how Bhaskar gets over, so Bhaskar's the name of the dad, how he gets over his constipation, I guess, and they travel from Delhi to Kolkata. One thing that really stood out to me was Bhaskar's views on marriage and his daughter, and there's a scene where like they're at this party or whatever, and he's talking to this guy who clearly Piku's trying to flirt with maybe a little bit, and he just Bosco goes straight in there with she's not a virgin, and it's just so funny because it's like, oh god, yeah, about that. It's just all the constipation talk, to be honest. There's so much constipation talk. Like the driver comes up with random little, I don't know, home remedies, I guess, for him to try to get rid of this constipation, and he's so happy to listen and learn, and it's hilarious. Like the squatting one, especially, the squatting one cracks me up. So the movie doesn't have that many like plot twists. They're just going on this journey, and there's just some really nice moments in that. Spoiler, Bosco dies at the end, and it's actually really sad. Like he's like a child. He throws his tantrums and he expects Piku to take care of him. He spends his last day by himself, riding or cycling around the city, eating all the food that he stopped himself and his daughter from eating because it messes with his stomach. Whilst people at home is stressing, being like he's an 80-whatever-year-old man on a bike by himself in the middle of a city, and he's having the time of his life. And then he comes home and he has the best poo of his life. So he passes in his sleep. It wasn't a shock, but it wasn't something you expect to happen. So it's quite sad, but you can see how like he passed how he wanted to, and he did it after having the best poo of his life, which is all he wanted throughout the movie, was just to get rid of his constipation. So thank you very much again for the suggestion. Thank you very much for the suggestion, Eshna. I really enjoyed the movie, and it was completely like indie in comparison to mainstream Bollywood, but I so enjoyed it. It was hilarious unintentionally, so and I loved it. So thanks.
Hi guys! Today I'll be talking about my reaction to the film Masan that was suggested to me by both Bornil and Eshna from the Srishti Institute in India. By the way, I'm so sorry guys if you hear any noises, but I am sitting outside because it's a really nice day. I can't say I've ever watched a Bollywood film or like an Indian production in general before, and I was really surprised with Masan. It wasn't your stereotypical Bollywood film full of music and dance. It actually had quite a Western feel to it, which I quite enjoyed, but maybe I would have preferred to watch something more Bollywood-like for my first Indian film that I've watched. Actually, I did some research and it is an Indian and French production, hence why the Western feel to it, I think. It definitely seems very like author directing style type of thing. So Masan is set in a small town, Varanasi, I don't know how to say it, sorry, but it was by the Ganges River, and there are two storylines. So the first one is Devi and her father, and it definitely showed a lot about women in Indian culture, about scandalous sex affairs, and it's actually crazy to me how strict the rules are for premarital sex in a small town in India. The second story is about Deepak and his love interest Shalu. They are so sweet together, honestly, watching it. It was like, oh, so cute. The actor who was playing Deepak, oh my god, he did such a good job at showing his emotions. So good. Oh, I love it. The story of Deepak though, it focuses a lot on the caste system in India, and it's crazy to me how such an educated person, a student, an engineer, still has to deal with being discriminated for where he comes from and for his class and all of that. Like, I can't imagine that. In my opinion, what really made the film was the characters in it. They're so distinctive and the actors did such a good job. Again, Deepak, the actor who played that, so good, such great performance. But also Devi and her dad, those characters were played really well as well. Devi, you can feel the strength of the character. She is not breaking down. She feels the guilt, but it doesn't break her. She wants to make it right, especially for her dad, because the dad is the one that's more embarrassed about the whole situation. About her feminism, will to follow her dreams, not just take a job that will pay, take a job that she actually enjoys. And then Deepak, again, he's a student and he's still trying to find himself, and we can really feel that. He's definitely a dreamer, and it really shows with the way he falls in love with Shalu, and then unfortunately Shalu dies, which just makes the character break down, and the audience breaks down with him. Like, I was feeling every single film Deepak was feeling, his grief and just complete lack of motivation from that point onwards. It's just such a beautiful performance, very vulnerable and real, and nothing else mattered to him anymore after Shalu passed away. I think Masan was filmed in a very naturalistic way, style. It shows all the beauty and ugliness of everything, of life, of the city they live in, of the actual characters of human beings, especially the police officer. It shows the ugliness and the beauty of everything, and the cinematography really follows up on that as well, especially the shots during the festival with Deepak and Shalu. It was just so beautifully filmed, and even the shots that were meant to be in an ugly location, an ugly situation, like the burning corpse, it actually looked so beautiful. I'm impressed with the cinematography. Overall, I think Masan is a very powerful film, and it shows the struggles of young adults, not just in India but all around the world. Like, we can all relate to it, and that's why I really liked it.